Welcome once again to the Low Country Food Bank's Cooking Matters in Our Community education series.
Welcome! My name is Autumn. I'm part of the Low Country Food Bank's nutrition team. Is your infant ready to transition to baby food? Are you trying to decide which brand you should purchase? Or are you considering making it yourself? Cooking matters even for the tiniest members of our family. During this quick video, I'm going to share with you why you should consider making your own food at home, how simple it can be to prepare, saving you lots of money on individual jars, and how to store prepared baby food. If you want to participate along with me, here's what you'll need. First, you'll need something to blend or mash your baby food. That can be a blender, a food processor, a potato masher, a fork, or even a measuring cup and a bowl will do. You'll need a spoon and a rubber spatula. You'll need an ice cube tray, which can be found at most retailers for a couple of dollars, plastic wrap, a storage bag or container, and a marker. To get started in the kitchen, we'll set a few ground rules. First, we're always respectful of ourselves, the food we're working with, and the tools we're using. We also practice patience and safety, and we always have fun. Now that we have our ground rules, let's get started. You may be asking why you should consider making your own food. There may be many reasons that you're considering, but one of the biggest reasons you should consider it is to save money. The average cost of a 4-ounce jar of baby food is $1. When your baby first begins to consume baby food, they'll likely only eat 2 ounces or half a jar. So half of that cost is 50 cents. If your baby eats that food 3 times a day for a whole month, that's $45 a month. As your baby grows, they'll begin to consume more food. So if your baby eats a full 4-ounce jar 3 times a day for a whole month, that cost quickly changes to $90. Let's compare this to the cost of a bag of frozen peas. For a 12-ounce bag of frozen peas, the cost is about $1. From that bag, you can get 6 2-ounce servings or 3 4-ounce servings. So if your baby is consuming the 2-ounce portions 3 times a day for a full month, that's $15. If your baby is consuming the 4-ounce portions for 3 times a day for a full month, that's $30 a month. That's a savings of $30 to $60 a month, depending on how much your baby is eating. A second reason you should consider is that you get to control what your baby is consuming. That is, whole foods like fruits and vegetables. Plus, you'll get to introduce foods that you're already preparing, making things less stressful for you with prepping and at dinner time, because you'll be introducing foods that you're already preparing for the rest of your family. You might be asking, where should we start? What food should we introduce first? Well, when it comes to my plate, half the plate is fruits and vegetables. So that's where we're going to start, with fruits and vegetables. Let's consider how we might purchase those fruits and vegetables. Fresh, frozen, or canned. They're all great options, as long as we read the labels. Let's dive further. If you're using fresh produce, fresh is just that. Plain, simple, fresh fruits and vegetables with nothing added. Some will need to be cooked to make them a little more tender, like potatoes, sweet potatoes, peas, and carrots, but others like berries and melons will not. Always wash your produce before preparing, and some may need to be peeled and a little prep work before you get started, like potatoes or squash will need to be peeled and have the seeds removed if there are any. Once washed, you can boil, steam, or bake your fruits and vegetables to make them more tender before pureeing or mashing. I'll show you how to puree later in this video. But what about frozen fruits and vegetables? Frozen fruits and vegetables are a great option. Look for plain fruits and vegetables with no added sodium, sugar, fat, or spices. For frozen vegetables, you'll need to boil or steam them for about 2 to 3 minutes to get them tender. For frozen fruits, no cooking is necessary, but you'll need to thaw them for about 10 minutes before pureeing or mashing. Can you use canned fruits and vegetables? Yes, you can. vegetables, be sure to get ones that are no salt added, or ones that are packed in water. For canned fruits, be sure to get ones that are packed in water or have no sugar added. Also, be sure to get those that do not have any seasonings. When introducing a new food, only incorporate one new food at a time. This gives you the opportunity to observe your child for any possible allergic reactions. Not all reactions happen immediately. Allow 3 days of incorporating a new food before you introduce any new foods. Once it's in their diet, feel free to mix it up and make creative blends like apples and prunes and peas and carrots. So let's get to making some baby food. If you saw my bag earlier, you'll know that we're using frozen peas today. To prep them, I'm going to quickly blanch them in some boiling water for about 2 to 3 minutes to get them nice and tender. So join me at the stove. There are many tools that you can use to mash or puree your baby's food. You can use a blender, a food processor, you can use a fork, a potato masher, or even a bowl and a measuring cup. First, I need to drain my peas, but I want to reserve some of the liquid so that I can use it while I'm pureeing. I'm going to go ahead and just strain my peas right into this bowl. Next, I'm going to go ahead and dump them into my food processor. You would do something very similar if you were using a blender. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of the cooking water. I'm going to turn it on, and when I see that my baby's food is nice and smooth to the consistency I want, that's when I will stop. You may need to use a rubber spatula and scrape down the sides. If it starts to get a little bit clumpy, you'll want to go ahead and add a little bit more liquid. Getting the consistency of your baby foods right is based on your baby's age and preference. As your baby transitions from milk to more solid foods, you'll want to be sure to make that consistency very smooth and thin to allow your baby to swallow easier. Once your baby gets older, you'll be able to make them thicker into more of a mashed potato consistency. But don't worry, no matter which tool you use to mash or puree your foods, you can always thin it out later with more water, formula, or breast milk. That should do it. Now, let's get it put into the ice cube tray. I'm going to use a spoon to place it into my ice cube tray, which should give me about perfect 2-ounce portions. Just keep going until the whole thing is full. Once your tray is full or you run out of pureed food, be sure to cover it with plastic wrap. And be sure to label it with the date and what you made and pop it in the freezer until you're ready to break them apart. Once frozen, it's time to remove them from our trays. I actually have a tray of carrots that I already have frozen in the freezer. Simply take off your plastic wrap, give them a little twist to get them out of your ice cube tray, and with clean hands you can place them in a zip bag or in a storage container. I'm going to place them in a storage container. Be sure to mark them and label them with the date and identifier, and pop them in the freezer. When you're ready to serve them, take 1 to 2 cubes, depending on how much your baby is eating, and place them in a small container in your refrigerator overnight. You can thin it to your child's desired consistency using a little bit of water or breast milk. Now you're ready to feed your baby and have a few extra dollars for your wallet, for groceries and other household supplies. Thanks for joining me.
For more information and recipes, visit lowcountryfoodbank.org/nutrition. And to learn where our food pantries and feeding partners are, visit lowcountryfoodbank.org and click Find Help.